Wir sprechen ja die ganze Zeit schon schön. Willkommen zum BeachHouse Talk und wir switchen gleich wieder auf Englisch. Wir haben heute nämlich Very Welcome Mr. Beasley. And what he's done in life, what he's doing in life, what a grateful work. Maybe Ulla introduces our very special and nice guest. Good to have you here, Mr. Beasley.
Good to have you here, Jan and David. May I say David?
Yes, you may.
Okay, we are familiar. I'm Ulla, Ursula Eva Maria Kock am Brink. But you can say Ulla, okay?
Ulla will work today.
Ulla, or something like that.
I'm still trying to take in the ocean behind me to get in this name, Ulla.
I give you my reaction anyway. So David Beasley is in the house and he's here because he does so many good things for our planet, and what it is, he's gonna tell us. What's your main job at the moment?
Main job at the moment is two things, well, other than being a grandfather, which is
Congrats.
which is the most important thing. But
okay.
Peace work, trying to bring civility and reconciliation between peoples around the world, and in the United States that's more needed than we've seen in quite some time. And the third thing is continuing to support humanitarian organizations around the world, like the World Food Program and other operations that are trying to help children and save lives in a time where aid is diminishing.
And do you think that food is a pathway to peace?
Food is definitely a pathway to peace. Where
how,
you don't have
how do
food,
you manage it?
Well, it's easy. When I was executive director of the World Food Program, I was traveling about 75 countries a year, and we were feeding in my last year about 160 million people on any given day.
116 million?
160.
60 million.
160.
Whoa.
On average per day.
Whoa.
So when you feed that many people, you know what's going on in the neighborhood. If I fed everybody in your neighborhood every day for 2 years, we know what's going on.
Yeah.
And we see the power of food and how it brings peace, and we've seen the power of not having food. In a lot of places, you'll see like Russia or Venezuela, they'll use, or ISIS or Al-Qaeda, they'll deprive people of food and recruit with that, or create war and conflict and destabilization. And so when we can come in and provide stability, it calms things down. We've seen it in Europe when you didn't address the root cause in Syria. You ended up with 1 million refugees just in Germany alone.
But so it's a worldwide problem.
Yeah.
And for your work as the president of the WFP, I have to get used to this, WFP, is that you won the Peace Nobel Prize in 2020.
Yes.
So, did you grow up from this moment?
Oh my gosh.
Are you a bigger man now? What happened after this? What happened with you after this?
That's not a phone call you get every day.
No.
So where have you been till this time? Somewhere in the garden? Or
I was hiding. I was hiding in the bushes.
Having a wine.
I was having where's my wine?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, it's the only reason I came here. You promised me some wine. But getting that phone call was a game changer.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to bring attention to the world leaders that we have a problem.
Yeah.
And the Nobel Peace Prize elevated the awareness in ways beyond imagination. You know, when I would go to Davos and speak before, and you're trying to get a meeting with the head of Microsoft, for example, Brad Smith, or Zuckerberg or Bezos, or
they have a little bit money, huh?
Well, they wouldn't want to meet with you.
Yeah.
Who are you? But after you get the Nobel Peace Prize, they're calling you. Well, it's going to cost you. I got to have a few $100 million.
It's a good effect for your work.
Yeah. The amount of money I raised after the Nobel Peace Prize was an extra few $1 billion.
Extra few $1 billion.
Not million, billion.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So, do you have real sustainability in your work with the food program? Because to my feeling, since 70 years, there are food programs all over the world, and we pay money for this and that and food, but it doesn't get better.
Oh, boy, you're touching on a subject that I was quite shocked when I went into the UN system. I remember going to, from country to country to country, and you're a senior person, you come into the country and you're meeting with the leadership of, let's say in Tunisia or Niger, anywhere. And you've got the country director, not the executive director of the whole global system, but the country director, let's say for WHO, for UNHCR, for UNICEF, for WFP, and it was maybe 15 or 20, and I'm trying to learn the system as I had come into it, and I'm like, how long have you been here? Well, they 30 years, 35 years, and proudly so, working hard. And I didn't mean to be disrespectful, but I said, I really appreciate all your hard work, but maybe it's not working. Shouldn't your goal be to put yourself out of business?
Yeah.
Such that the local population has sustainability, they're taking care of themselves, and if you're still there.
Supporting food markets, regional food markets and so on.
So for example, when I came in, we were in many places just handing out food. Well, you'll be handing out food for 100 years. Versus
let them plant food.
Let them plant food, give them the water systems, the irrigation lines, and this is what we began to do, and within 3 or 4 years, we're no longer needed. And it saves taxpayers money, it stabilizes populations, children have a future, and it really is a game saver when you address root cause. And this is what I used to argument, and it wouldn't matter if you're at the Bundestag in Berlin or in the United States Senate or the United States House. You would get this question, why should I send my taxpayer dollar down to Chad, Niger, Mali, when we have infrastructure needs right here at home, healthcare, education funding needs? And I would say, well, number one, if you're not going to do it out of the goodness of your heart of loving your neighbor, you better do it out of your national security interests and your financial interests. And then I would say, but I want to explain it to you, not hypothetically, anecdotally, experientially. For example, Syria. The Europeans didn't address the root cause in Syria. You ended up with 1 million refugees in Syria at a cost of $125 billion over a 5-year period. Mathematically, that's about 70 euros per day.
Is money a good reason for the high-class people when they can save money by feeding the world? Is this the best way to convince them?
Yes, and here's the argument. So Germans were paying 125 billion over 5 years at $70 a day, 70 euros a day. But I can feed the World Food Program a Syrian in Syria for 50 cents a day. So had we addressed the root cause, instead of being 70 euros a day, it would have been 50 cents a day. That's 140 times. So divide 140 into 125 billion. So instead of paying 125 billion, you would have paid 1 billion and you would have freed up 123 billion.
He's very good. It's a job, I think.
It sells, it works.
Cheers.
Cheers. Here's the
earned it now.
Here's the saving lives and saving money. It's the same thing in the United States.
But David, can we handle all this? I just read something about 673 million people worldwide suffer from hunger.
Chronic hunger.
And chronic.
Yeah.
And it's growing. What are the challenges for my kids for the future time? Can we handle is it possible?
Right now in the world, we grow enough food to feed the entire planet.
Really?
We do.
Okay.
Now the population is growing, but let me drop back. 200 years ago, when the world population was 1.1 billion,
yes,
85 to 95% of the entire planet, people were in extreme poverty. I don't mean poverty, extreme poverty. They didn't know where the next meal was coming from. They didn't know about shelter, clothing. Forget about health care insurance, stuff like that. And so, think about it. 200 years later, population of the world, 8 billion people, now less than 9%. So we have built systems and programs and institutions that's sharing more wealth than any time period in world history. Now, having said that, we're beginning to go backwards, which is frightening and scary, because that's a problem. Now, we grow enough food today. In fact, the waste that you have in developed nations and developing nations is about 1/3. That's about $1 trillion in value that would feed 2 billion people. So if we can eliminate the waste alone, you really do a lot of good things. Now, having said that, the science today that's developing for food production is going to take us to a whole nother level of food production and better foods, more resistant seeds to pests, so you don't have to use as much pesticides and herbicides, which is going to be a big deal. But there's a problem in this access to food. And that's where we run into problems like in Niger or Mali and parts of Syria, where ISIS and Al-Qaeda or Boko Haram or Al-Shabaab or the Taliban, they may, for example, shut down the supply chain system and they recruit with food and medicine.
Okay.
You know.
What about corruption in this business?
Oh.
It's a shit, huh?
Yeah, corruption in general.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just horrific. I mean, this is one of the arguments that, like, Africa has enough. The young people in Africa, oh my gosh, they're so fantastic. They're ready to explode in economic growth and opportunity. Okay. And the African women, oh my gosh, if you give the African women the same capital tools that you give the men, Africa will take off. I mean, I've done it firsthand. What we did in women's empowerment in Africa was extraordinary. Extraordinary. With the women, you know 100% of everything you'll give them is going to go to the benefit of their children and their community. Yeah. And if there's a family over here that doesn't have enough, those women get together and they...
the men, they go into the pub.
Well, or under the tree. And I mean, I've seen this over and over. But there's so much opportunity. I mean, well, AI and quantum computing and all this is scary. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
What do you think about it? AI, is it so useful for the planet, or is it more dangerous for the planet?
Well, I think we're going to find out in the future. Yeah. But right now, I mean, I think we'll see the cost of goods go down, the quality of goods go up. But what good is having brand new furniture in the house if the house burns down? Yeah. So we've got to really balance this out. It's frightening. It really is.
But we need some rules, don't you think so?
Yeah. We've got to really figure this out.
Yeah.
It's a very important issue.
Yeah. You know, in your interview with, what was the name? Roby Brock. Capital View. I think it was very interesting because you sat there and said, I'm a Christian, I believe in the Almighty, and you have a philosophy to say, let's lay down the iPhone or whatever, and let's do something else. What is it?
You know, and I really, when I'm dealing with the Taliban or the Houthis or ISIS or Al-Qaeda, you're dealing with people of a religious perspective. Yeah. And in Europe and the United States, you're dealing primarily with a Christian community, so to speak. I mean, you might have Catholics or Orthodox or Baptists or this or that. And so I was reading an article from the Washington Post a couple of weeks ago that said 87% of the members of the United States Senate and the United States House
are Christians, huh?
Are Christian. Yeah. But if you watch the news, you'd be like, what the heck?
Sodom and Gomorrah.
What kind of Christians are these guys? So you're saying on Sunday you go to church and you declare you're following the teachings of Jesus, who says, love your neighbor, love your enemy, pray for those who persecute you, bless those who hate you. Those weren't suggestions, those were commandments. So I hold leaders accountable to the faith that they claim to follow. And so today, across America, we're doing a Breaking Bread tour, because this thing right here, it connects us all, but we're more divided than any time period.
In Germany, it's the same. And what I don't understand is that people don't want to talk. They live in the small bubble. We call this the echo chamber. Because everybody wants to get, yes, you are wonderful, your thoughts are wonderful, everything is wonderful. But you're not interested in fighting with anybody without being an enemy. But we don't need to be enemies, we can just fight anyway.
But of course in an analog way, not digital. We have to talk, we have to share things, problems, and discuss, and not this.
Well, how much difference would our conversation be if we were all doing it virtually?
Yeah.
It would be okay. But to sit here and flesh and blood and look in the eyes.
We look in the eyes.
Yeah. And so now you've monetized propaganda and misinformation, disinformation.
You monetize propaganda. What do you mean with that?
So the influencers on Twitter or X or Facebook, you're getting money now for having your followers.
Yes.
And so if your followers are based upon
telling the right
pro-Trump, you don't want to lose your followers, so you're not going to say anything negative, right or wrong, about Trump. or whatever it might be on the other side.
That's my next question.
So I was speaking, I can't remember whether it was a G7 or a G20.
Entschuldigung,
And-
könnt ihr mal...
And at the meeting, I do a kind of a off-the-record private conversation about what I'm seeing out there with the extremists.
Yes.
You know, the ISIS and the Al-Qaedas and all this
And
stuff.
you know them all.
Well, I'm out there in
What's
those
your way of
communities.
communication with so difficult
Ooh,
characters?
that's a whole different discussion. I
Wow.
mean, how you deal with the Taliban. But you got to be, number one, respectful.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree. But don't go in there like this, because you've got to decide, do I want to look good to my followers, or do I want to achieve good?
Yeah.
And if you want to achieve good, because if I go in there and look good, oh, I told that, you know, Taliban or that Houthi and all my crowd back home, like, yeah, he showed them. Well, children died.
Yeah.
And so I need to find a pathway to open up a door, whether it's in North Korea, Venezuela, with ISIS or Al-Qaeda,
Yeah.
whatever it might be, because children's lives are at
Children
stake.
kill for clicks. They do it.
Yeah.
It's
a different world.
It's so strange and so brutal, and I can't find out of it.
So here's what I learned, you know, over the years of feeding millions of people.
Yeah.
When you travel the world and you go into all of these different cultures, ethnicities, color of skin, religions, you find that people generally are all the same. And you begin to see the power of food and how it brings people together. If you're sitting down breaking bread with someone, even if you have disagreement, you're gonna have some respect. It's a mystery versus talking past each other on TikTok and whatever it might be. And so we're doing now what we call a breaking bread tour across America.
Good.
Based upon what I've learned over the past many years, sitting down with extremists, with those of a different perspective, whether it's North Korea or the Taliban or whatever
But they
it
have
might
some
be.
food on the table, and so
Having
they
some
talk.
food on the
Yeah.
table. Well,
this is a good idea.
I think
Or some wine.
wine, we might take it
Yeah.
to a whole other level with wine, though.
In former times, you were a Democrat. Now you are a Republican. Why did you change?
So I ran, I was elected 7 times as a Democrat and
Yeah.
1 time as a
As a
Republican.
governor from South Carolina.
And so now
Yeah.
I am so fed up with both parties and the American people. Both parties are going to the extremes. They're allowing the extremists to dictate what would be the moderate middle America. And it's creating a conflict and a tension that is so unnecessary. So just in the past few months, in speeches that I've been giving across America, from Harvard to Yale to Minneapolis to Minnesota, to Milwaukee to LA, I can go on. I've been meeting with Ds and Rs and asking questions, and all of them are fed up and tired of this extremism. They want to bring America back to the central, back
Yeah.
to the middle,
Yeah.
which is where middle America.
I
And
think
that's what the world needs.
Most of the people in America are middle.
They are 80,
They are.
90%.
Yes.
But this, because
But
of
in
this,
the social media, it's
oh
bam,
my
bam.
gosh, you think
It's
America's
diametral, you know?
yeah, America's gonna burn down any
Yeah,
minute. And
yeah.
you go out there to the hinterlands and people are like, life's good, they're working hard, they're fed up with this stuff. And so how do we bring that back? And that's what we're working on.
So, who's going to be the next president of the United States?
Well,
David?
My wife might shoot me, you know. Right now I'm focused on civility in America,
Yeah.
you know.
The better work.
Yeah, you know, because America, the world needs America to get back on that shining city on the hill.
Yes,
The whole world needs
the
for America to
optimistic way and not this
Yeah,
splitting way.
We go build America back up, not by tearing each other down.
Yeah. Are you afraid of Donald Trump, or are
You know, when his first term,
Yeah.
when I took over the World Food Program, and it was because a group of Democrat and Republican senators who controlled foreign aid,
Okay.
foreign ops, etc., they came to me and said, "You're the only one that can talk Trump out of cutting international aid." I said, "Well, I don't know about that. I don't want a job. I'm not looking for a job." But they talked me into it because nations were at stake, children's lives
And you
were
know
at stake.
how to communicate
And I know
respectfully, you know?
And so I took the role
Yeah.
and convinced him. It really wasn't that hard. So that White House in 2017 to 2021, and when he left office,
Yeah.
we took funding for our World Food Program up by billions. And so the success was quite remarkable. And Germany stepped up. Germany was given maybe 350 million, like 2015.
Yeah.
And when I left, we were almost at $2 billion.
Good.
But I spoke to the
Good job.
Bundestag,
Yeah.
did radio, TV, print, spoke to the different committees, convincing German people it will save you money if you do this strategically. So here we are. More work to be done. And we're going backwards.
Being the next one.
It's frightening what's happening because the United States has substantially reduced aid in the last 24 months. Germany has too. EU has too. So unfortunately, the media is not covering the children that are starving, the nations that are now getting more and more fragile because we're focused on what? Iran,
I know.
Israel, Palestine, and Ukraine, which you must be concerned about those things.
But don't you think that a person like you could strengthen the community and the common sense in the US?
Yes.
Because to my opinion, it's very dangerous what's happening in Germany too, by the way. In Europe too, by the way, but in the US also. The people having so much hate and are so aggressive against each other, and I don't see a light on the horizon, you know?
Yeah, you know,
I will encourage you.
I was giving a talk and talking about the state of affairs around the world. And I said, you know, with Trump asks many times the right question. He just answers it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it's all about tearing people down.
Yeah.
Demeaning, divisive. That's just not
It's
good.
negative. Yeah.
So I had a Democratic senator, U.S. senator a couple of weeks ago, said, David, you have negotiated with the Taliban, the Houthis, extremist groups, Venezuela.
Then you can do it with Trump also.
Would you mind coming back to Washington? And I said, that might be a bridge too far.
You know him already? You met Trump and you?
Oh, yeah. We've met many
He
times.
talked to him and he convinced him in anything.
But the first administration, you had Pompeo, McMaster, Mattis, Kelly, Ivanka was my ace. And when I would sit down with President Trump, make the case, he would get it and we would move forward. I don't think there's anyone, right or wrong, good or bad, in his sphere of influence that's making the case now. And the world's paying a big price for it. I mean, when you help the poor and you help the children, you're not just saving lives, but you're stabilizing populations. You remember the TV documentary 60 Minutes?
Yeah.
Scott Pelley?
No, Scott Pelley, no.
Yeah.
I know the show, the 60 Minutes.
So we were doing a very powerful story on Yemen because the coalition of Saudi Arabia, UAE, and the United States had a blockade on the port of Hodeidah, which 85% of the food consumed comes through the port. And so I was just blasting the United States and Saudi Arabia and UAE that regardless of your side of the war you're on, you can't let children die. So we're finishing up the interview and Scott's taking off the mic and he looks at me and he says, Governor, you've got the greatest job in the world, saving the lives of millions of people every day.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, Scott, I do. But I'm going to tell you something that you haven't thought of and this will bother you. And he looked at me like, what? And I said, I don't go to bed at night thinking about the children we saved. I go to bed at night brokenhearted over the children we couldn't save. Yeah. And I said, when we don't have enough money, I have to choose, my team, we have to choose which children eat, which children don't eat, which children live, which children die. And he said, oh my God, I never thought about it. I said, well, it's not hypothetical with us. We live with this every day. And I said, you know what really makes you mad? When there's 400 trillion, back then, $1 trillion worth of wealth and children and people are dying every 4 to 5 seconds. Then he looked at me and said, you got the worst job in the world. And then he said, how do you stay positive? And I said, you know, that's easier than you think. And he's like, what, like how? I said, when I'm out maybe in Deir ez-Zor, Syria, or Kandahar in Afghanistan, and this little 3 or 4-year-old little girl or little boy will come from behind a war-rubbled building, and it's like a flower in the desert. And I see that as the image of God, my little brother, my little sister. And I said, that's not a number.
No.
That's a brother, a sister with a
Yeah.
name and a voice. And I said, I'm not giving up on that child.
So
and
I'm
that's
sure,
what drives me.
I'm sure, David, that you will never give up, and you are a beautiful person. Thank you for being
beautiful
here.
mind.
Well, don't ask my children now. They'll tell you. Oh, let me tell you
I'm
that.
going to ask them later to get the truth.
I've got 4 amazing children, and now we got 5 grandchildren and 3 on the way, and so it's an exciting time.
Happy grandpa and happy father.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. It was
Thank
a
you
great
for being
pleasure. It was so interesting to
Amazing
listen to
person.
you.
Thank you.
And have a good luck.
Well, thank you. I mean,
With all that you
Right.
do, have a good luck.
thank you.
By heart, okay?
Oh.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
Be you.
Indeed.